I was the driver for Anna Miller, the reigning princess of Manhattan's elite, and I was also just a non-player character in the game she called her life. In our 3rd year together, my mother's illness took a turn for the worse. Her only wish was to see me get married. But just then, the man Anna could never get over came back. "Noah, let's break up," she said. "A new driver will take over for you tomorrow." I just lowered my head, silent. Later, when I was picking out wedding photographers with my fiancée, Anna threw herself in front of my car, a wild look in her eyes, threatening to end it all. "Noah," she screamed, "it's me or her. Choose." The 3rd year I was with Anna Miller, she didn't invite me to her birthday party. I found out about the extravagant celebration by watching a live stream from a paparazzo staked out nearby. The gossip site said the man who had rented out the entire venue was Ethan Carter, the one she had been hung up on for years. He had just returned from overseas and immediately took charge of her birthday bash. The last time Anna and I had spoken was just yesterday. Her words, "It's just a birthday, it's not a big deal," now felt like a raw, cutting taunt. It wasn't that it wasn't a big deal. It was that celebrating it with me wasn't a big deal. Driven by a rush of anger, I went there. When I arrived, Anna and Ethan were surrounded by a crowd in the center of the room. People were cheering, urging them to confess their feelings, to talk about the years of longing and torment. What was there to say? "Ethan, you just up and left back then," Anna said, her voice tight. "Now you show up out of nowhere and throw this party. Are you insane?" She stubbornly turned her head away, but I could clearly see the tears welling in her eyes. I stood quietly on the edge of the crowd, watching them from a distance. Everyone around them was trying to clear the path for their reunion, constantly persuading her. It was because no one had ever taken me, her official boyfriend, seriously. "Ethan, you were wrong back then," someone said. After you left, Anna was miserable. All those boyfriends she had, they were just NPCs in her game. Everyone knew she was just trying to make you come back. My heart felt like it was being squeezed in a tight fist, dangling over a sharp blade. I couldn't deny it. Even now, I still held onto a sliver of hope. I wanted to hear Anna say something different about me, something that set me apart. But there was nothing. Anna stared at a silent Ethan, who was also waiting. He was waiting to see her reaction after hearing that all her relationships for the past few years were just a ploy to get his attention, wanting to see her lose control. Ethan slowly raised his hand and gently stroked her hair. His gaze was tender, as if the years of separation had never existed, full of affection and warmth. "Anna," he said softly, "if I hadn't left, I couldn't have become a leader in my industry. I wouldn't have had any real power. I'm a man. I couldn't just marry into the Miller family and be a kept husband, unable to hold my head high for the rest of my life." Anna's tears instantly streamed down her face. She threw herself into his arms like a child who had been wronged for far too long. "For your male pride? You torture me like this for all these years, just for your pride? Ethan, you're a bastard." She sobbed, pounding on his chest, completely oblivious to everyone watching. Ethan comforted her, then looked up. Our eyes met through the gaps in the crowd. I saw a faint smirk play on his lips. His voice, though low and husky, carried with incredible force. "Anna, I'm back now. We can start over. If you can't forgive me right away, that's okay. I'll wait for you. But I know you'll be mine sooner or later." Anna didn't argue. She just hugged him tighter, a desperate grip as if she had just recovered something precious she had lost. The blade finally fell, and my heart shattered into a million pieces. When Anna came home that night, she brought me a collector's edition of a video game. It was her birthday, but I was the one getting a gift. For a moment, I even thought that maybe, just maybe, I meant something to her. "I saw the headlines and figured you'd be upset," she said. "I really wasn't planning on celebrating my birthday. But you know what that patent Ethan holds means for all the current green energy projects. Besides, we're old friends. It wouldn't have been right to refuse him for both personal and professional reasons." Anna was a natural negotiator. Her reasons always sound and logical. If I raised any objection now, it would just make me seem petty, not generous or understanding. In the past, I would have already wrapped my arms around her, gently explaining that my silence was only because I cared about her so much. But now, I suddenly didn't have the energy to be angry or the interest to argue. I just forced a smile and replied, dismissively, "I get it." Then I stood up to go to bed. As I passed her, she suddenly grabbed my hand. "Why aren't you looking at the game? You've been talking about it for ages. I had someone buy it for you from Japan." I pulled my hand away, my face blank. I was too exhausted to keep up the charade. I just rubbed my tired, sore eyes. "Anna, I'm really tired tonight. I just want to sleep." Anna froze, seemingly stunned by my reaction. She looked me up and down, as if searching for a clue in my expression, but she found nothing. My head was pounding. The words almost escaped my lips. "Anna, I know we started as a joke on your part, but I feel like we've had real feelings for each other over these years. So I want you to promise me something." Her expression softened. My calm, indifferent demeanor was clearly not what she had been expecting. "Go on," she said. "What is it?" I looked down at her beautiful, delicate features and spoke in a low voice. "I hope that, whether you want to continue this relationship or not in the future, you'll just tell me straight." Anna was taken aback at first, but her expression quickly darkened. "You're still hung up on what happened today, aren't you? Noah, can you stop being so childish?" With that, she left the penthouse and didn't come back for days. But besides being her boyfriend, I still had to do my job as her driver. So, we still saw each other at the office during the day, though Anna was always distracted and barely spoke to me. She treated me with the cool detachment of a stranger, never explaining what happened on her birthday or mentioning Ethan again. Instead, she started compensating me in other ways. First, a secluded villa in the Hamptons. Then, the latest model sports car. Both were transferred to my name under various company pretexts. Finally, she spared no expense, using her family's foundation to build a state-of-the-art senior care center in my hometown city center. She had her lawyers draw up a contract stating that once it was completed, my sick mother would be moved in for lifelong, free care. My hometown was over 1,000 miles from New York. I knew she was preparing the final eviction notice. This was Anna's usual tactic. Before I became her boyfriend, all the other NPCs in her game would receive various forms of compensation before the breakup, always tailored to their desires, before going their separate ways. The only difference with me was that I had been by her side the longest. A week later, on my day off, a lawyer delivered the care facility contract to me. The moment I saw it, the blood rushed to my head and my limbs went cold and numb. The lawyer placed a pen on the contract, his expression businesslike and devoid of any emotion. "Mr. Evans, after you sign, please also return Miss Miller's car keys to me." I froze. Then, pretending to be unfazed, I dialed Anna's number. "Anna," the lawyer brought a contract. "I've looked it over. You never used to care about my mom's situation. Why the sudden, thoughtful gift?" It was only then that I realized, to my own pathetic dismay, that I was still clinging to one last shred of hope. Anna seemed to be eating. She swallowed slowly before letting out a light laugh. "Didn't you say your mom's condition was getting serious and she needed better care?" I stared at the printed words on the contract, my fingertips digging into my palms. The lawyer also said, "I need to give your car keys back. Does that mean you don't need me to be your driver anymore?" There was a long silence on her end. The sound of her breathing was sharp and clear, each second a torturous pull. I waited quietly for her answer. The lawyer sitting across from me suddenly gave a scornful laugh, his eyes filled with pity. Finally, Anna sighed. "I just wanted to hire a female driver. It's more convenient when I have to go to certain events. She can accompany me." After hanging up, I was in a daze for a long time. After a while, I picked up the pen and signed the contract without hesitation. Then I took the car keys from my pocket and placed them in front of the lawyer. His professional mask was back in place. He took the keys and was about to leave when he seemed to remember something. "Mr. Evans," he said, "there's something I probably shouldn't say, and it's not my place, but as a man, I think I understand your situation. When a woman who is used to getting whatever she wants suddenly decides to replace the man by her side, there's usually only one reason. She's afraid the person she actually cares about will get jealous." With that, the lawyer turned and left. I forced myself to hold back the tears, but my stinging eyes fought against my efforts. A single tear finally escaped, landing on the back of my hand with a soft pat, as if mocking my weakness. Just then, the hospital called. My mom's condition had worsened. My mind went blank. I don't even remember how I got to the hospital. By the time I burst into the inpatient wing, the emergency resuscitation was over. The doctor took off his mask, rubbing his tired eyes. "Your mother's condition took a sharp decline," he said in a low voice. "I don't think she has much time left. Mr. Evans, you need to be prepared." I stood frozen, the weight of grief crashing down on me without mercy. At that moment, a familiar voice came from the end of the hallway. "Ethan, what were you thinking? How could you cut your hands so deeply just by slicing a piece of fruit? Did all those years abroad make you stupid?" Anna's voice was frantic, a tone I had never heard from her before. Ethan chuckled, reaching out to pinch her cheek. Still the same little bossy pants, always nagging me. Anna was about to reply when she looked up and our eyes met. She paused, and in the next second, she instinctively moved to shield Ethan behind her. I let out a bitter laugh. All my pent-up anger finally found an outlet. "Anna, are you afraid I'm going to hit him?" Ethan looked at me, his eyes filled with contemptuous mockery. "Anna, isn't this your driver? Why is he speaking so rudely?" A wave of emotions washed over me. I walked towards Ethan, step by step, staring him straight in the eye. "I'm Anna's boyfriend." Ethan let out a sudden, derisive laugh, his face full of disdain, not taking my words seriously at all. "Is that so?" At that moment, Anna stepped forward and shoved me hard. The coldness on her lips was laced with threat and contempt. "I've given you everything you're owed, Noah. Let's part on good terms. Know your place." My heart died in that instant. "Fine," I said, "as you wish." Like a zombie, I stumbled into my mother's hospital room. The sunlight outside was warm, but I was cold to the bone. Downstairs, Anna and Ethan left together, their haste brazen and undisguised. I was a ridiculous clown. I'd had so many chances to leave with dignity, yet I clung to an impossible hope. In the end, the last veil of decency was ruthlessly torn away, all because I had directly challenged Anna's bottom line. And that bottom line was Ethan Carter. My mother's voice broke through my thoughts, and I snapped back to reality. She was awake, but still very weak. "Mom, how are you feeling?" I rushed to her bedside, gently taking her hand and smoothing the pale skin around her foreline. She tried to smile at me, but could only manage a stiff, pained curve of her lips. "Noah, I know I don't have much time left, but if I go, what will you do all by yourself? Can you promise me you'll find someone who loves you and get married soon? Don't waste any more time." My mom had always disapproved of my relationship with Anna. She was a good judge of character and knew that this high society girl had never truly cared for me. But I had been bewitched, stubbornly diving headfirst into it, deaf to all reason, hurting my mother's feelings time and time again with my arguments. I sniffled, forcing back the lump in my throat. "I know, Mom. I'll listen to you. When you're a little better, we'll go back home. I'll find someone suitable and build a real life." My mom's eyes seemed to light up for a moment, a visible wave of happiness washing over her. "Really?" I nodded. "Really, Mom? I'm not lying to you." The tears finally fell. I buried my head in her blankets. "I'm so sorry, Mom." That afternoon, I went back to the office, packed up all my things, and submitted my resignation to HR. The same lawyer who had brought me the contract was there, and the whole process went smoothly. As I walked out of the building for the last time, the lawyer called out to me. "Mr. Evans, one last thing. To be honest, Ethan and I are friends. His background and status are on a level you'll never reach in your lifetime. But I also envy you. You got to be the placeholder by the Manhattan princess's side for so many years just because you have a pretty face. But a game is a game. It's time for it to be over." His voice was soft, but the mockery was unmistakable. My hands clenched into tight fists, my nails digging deep into my palms. The sharp pain was the perfect punishment for my last 3 years. I deserved it. I contacted a hospital in my hometown and arranged for my mom's transfer as soon as her condition stabilized. Before leaving New York, I left behind everything Anna had ever given me. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a text from an unknown number. The message was a picture of a few shirts and the video game case. "Leaving your things at Anna's penthouse on purpose. What are you trying to prove, Noah? Don't play these little games only women play. It's pathetic. It makes me look down on you." It was Ethan. My hand holding the phone tightened. The sting of having my pride trampled on was sharp and clear. It was obvious who had given him my number. This meant that these insulting attacks were happening with Anna's tacit approval. I didn't reply. I just blocked his number and Anna's along with it. After doing all that, I covered my eyes with my hand. I remembered the moment I first fell for Anna. It was because she stood up for me, defending me without any prejudice. It was a snowy winter that year. My mom had just been diagnosed with terminal cancer. I brought her from our hometown to New York for treatment, working 4 jobs a day to make ends meet. One time, while serving drinks at a bar, I was so exhausted that I accidentally spilled a drink on a customer. He wouldn't let it go. He had his friends hold me down on the floor, his foot pressing on my back. "Do you have any idea how much this suit costs?" he sneered. "Your entire year's salary couldn't buy it. I don't need your money today. Just get on your knees and bow your head to the floor." Everyone in the bar gathered around, pointing and whispering. They all thought that someone of my low status should just do as he was told. No one said a word to help me. I would rather be beaten than suffer such a humiliation. Seeing my defiance, the customer grabbed a beer bottle and was about to smash it over my head when a woman's voice cut through the air. "Mr. Chun, isn't it a bit much to bully a server like this? We're all human. Who gave you the right to look down on people? By that logic, shouldn't you be on your knees before my family, the Millers?" The pressure on my back eased. A pair of exquisite high heels appeared in my line of sight. Following them up, I saw a pair of long, slender legs, so pale they almost hurt my eyes. The owner of those legs was Anna Miller. Love at first sight. For the first time, I believed in the phrase. Anna bent down, a playful smile on her face, her voice bright and bold. "I need a driver. Want to give a try?" As if possessed, I nodded without a moment's hesitation. And just like that, I fell headfirst into the sweet trap named Anna Miller, completely enchanted, unable to escape. Later, even when everyone told me I was just a pawn in her game to get back at Ethan, my feelings never wavered. But now, the one who had shattered that illusion was Anna herself. Soon after returning to my hometown, I saw the news on TV. Anna and Ethan's official announcement as a couple shook the entire New York social scene, dominating the top spot on Twitter's trending list. They stood in the middle of a crowd, holding hands, looking at everyone with sweet smiles. People online were showering them with blessings, saying this was the kind of match worthy of the princess. All the previous guys were just frogs trying to eat swan meat. I watched for a moment, then shook my head with a bitter smile. I finally took out my SIM card, snapped it in half, and threw it in the trash, completely severing the last tie to my past. Maybe it was being back home, but my mom's spirits seemed to have improved a lot. "Noah," she said one day, "one of my old colleagues came to visit yesterday. She said her niece just got back from abroad and is working at a tech company here. She's beautiful and capable. Do you want to meet her?" To be honest, I had always hated the idea of blind dates. 2 people laying out their qualifications on a table, up for appraisal, letting the other person choose. It turned marriage into a commodity on a shelf. It was ridiculous. But now, looking at the familiar streets and the warm glow of the lights from the houses, a sense of weariness washed over me. Besides, this might be my mother's last wish. I nodded, trying to sound as casual as possible. "Sure, why not? I'll meet her." My voice was faint. I barely hurt myself, but my mom had already grabbed her phone and started contacting the other party. Seeing her so frail, a fresh wave of sorrow welled up in my eyes. So when my mom sent me the girl's contact information, I immediately sent a friend request. At the same time, a notification popped up from a video chat app one hadn't used in a long time. Anna's profile picture appeared on the screen. She messaged me as if it were a casual greeting. "Noah, I can't reach your message or your phone. What's going on?" I stared at the screen, my fingertips hovering over it for a long time. Before I could decide whether to delete it or reply, another message popped up, written with an air of nonchalance. "Ethan doesn't mean any harm by what he says. Don't take it to heart. Come back to the city when you have a chance. We need to talk." I suddenly remembered that my 3 years with Anna weren't always a whirlwind romance. She was like a social butterfly, always craving novelty, So even if our relationship was a game, Anna would switch characters. On my birthday one year, I had baked a cake in the morning, just wanted to have dinner with her. But the clock struck midnight, and I still couldn't reach her. When I saw her again and asked about it, she just scoffed, "Stay out of my business, Noah." It took me a long time to pull myself out of that memory. I stared quietly at the street outside my window. My voice was low and flat. "I've already moved back home with my mom." Anna paused. She seemed to be processing what moved back home meant. After a moment, she chuckled, her voice lazy and uniquely careless. "Noah, you don't have to be so dramatic. Even though I'm not having you as my driver anymore, I've arranged a position for you in the logistics department. Once you get your mom settled, you can come back to work." I didn't say anything. The urge I once had to pour out my heart to her, to explain every little detail, had vanished at some point. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Anna asked, puzzled. Before she could finish, another voice interrupted. "Anna, I've redone the garden for you. Come make a look. I pulled out all the old flowers." "Okay, coming," Anna replied quickly. Then, as if remembering something, she said to me in an awkward tone, "Noah, don't mind him. Those flowers hadn't been taken care of recently and didn't look good, so I agreed to replace them." I felt nothing. I just replied politely, "I know, it's fine. Those flowers were out of style anyway. Now that I've moved out, you can renovate it however you want. I don't have an opinion." With that, I gently hung up the phone and watched the screen go dark. In the middle of the night, I was woken up by shouts from outside. Groggy, I looked out the window and saw that the small convenience store on the ground floor across the street was on fire. I was shocked. Without thinking, I ran outside in my pajamas. A young woman burst out of the store and ran right into me, frantic and incoherent. My mom, inside my mom. I grabbed her to steady her, then push her back. "Go call 911. I'll break the fire extinguisher case and start putting it out." But the woman was still terrified, pointing at the burning storefront and shaking her head desperately, tears mixing with the black soot on her face. "Don't worry, I'll go in and find your mom. Go call for help now." My almost shouted command finally seemed to calm her down. Though she was still crying, she obediently moved to the side. By now, many neighbors had come out to help. We emptied all the fire extinguishers in the complex. After about 10 minutes, the fire started to die down a little. I handed my empty extinguisher to a woman next to me, grabbed a wet blanket that was hanging out to dry, and ran straight into the fire. A wave of commotion erupted from the crowd. Someone shouted for me to stop, but all they saw was my back disappearing into the flames. I found the unconscious old woman near the edge of the chaotic, fiery room and managed to get her onto my back. But when I tried to get out, I found that the way I had come in was blocked by a fallen shelf. I had to find another way out. By then, the smoke in the room was so thick I couldn't see anything. The old woman on my back seemed to stir. "Kid," she rasped, "put me down. You run." I shook my head. "I came in for you. I can't leave you behind." I finally found a relatively clear corner and took off the single respirator mask I had, putting it on her face. As my consciousness started to fade, I thought I saw the image of that lost, helpless little girl from that year, Anna, slowly fading away. Maybe I could finally, truly let her go. In a daze, I felt a pair of soft, delicate hands pulling at me, desperately trying to drag me back from the abyss. The sound of fire truck sirens grew closer. Someone was calling my name in my ear, their voice urgent yet gentle like a breeze. When I woke up again, I was surrounded by white. The smell of antiseptic was sharp. A pretty girl with a clean, delicate face was sitting by my bed. When she saw I was awake, her pale lips curved into a smile, and she leaned in excitedly. "You're awake. Your mom isn't well enough to stay, so I'm watching over you. How are you feeling? Does anything hurt?" The words tumbled out of her, one after another, so fast she almost bit her tongue. Her earnestness made me laugh. "I'm fine now." Hearing my clear voice, the girl finally let out a sigh of relief. She plopped down onto the chair by the bed, leaning back with a dramatic flair. "Thank God, you're finally okay. I'm the daughter from the convenience store yesterday. Thank you for saving my mom. Let me introduce myself. I'm Chloe." I smiled. Her cheerful voice was infectious, and I felt instantly healed. "Noah," Chloe and I quickly became friends. It turned out she was the blind date my mom wanted to set me up with. My mom adored her, often holding her hand and telling her all my embarrassing childhood stories. The two of them would laugh together until they cried. Chloe was impressive. She was the lead anchor for our local news station, but unfortunately, I never watched the news. Chloe often scolded me for it. You must be so out of touch with the world. I never admitted or denied it, just smiled at her. No one's asking me to run for office. I'd rather watch sports and get my spirits up. At times like these, my mom would cook a huge meal and watch us with a kind, loving smile. I knew how happy she was, and I used to look down on my mom. Even though we were technically dating, we were never on equal footing. She would always look at me with a detached expression. Noah, I can get your mom the best medical treatment, but I'm sorry, I can't go see her. Gossip from New York kept finding its way to me. The people who used to flock around Anna, but secretly despised me, weren't about to miss a chance to kick me when I was down. Even though I had changed my number and blocked so many people with their family connections, it was easy for them to find my new contact information. So when a picture of Anna and Ethan at a Valentine's Day party was sent to my new number, I only felt a momentary daze before returning to normal. In the photo, they were nestled together against a backdrop of exploding fireworks that lit up the dark blue sky, like a scene from a fairy tale. It was a world of equals that I could never give Anna. The truth is, from the moment I fell in love with her, I had been preparing myself for this outcome countless times. My phone rang. I answered without looking at the screen. Hello. There was no sound from the other end, only a faint, almost inaudible breath. But I knew instantly. A premonition washed over me. Sure enough, in the next second, Anna's spoiled, complaining voice came through the receiver. Noah, you changed your number and blocked all my accounts. I looked up at Chloe in the yard, who was squatting next to my mom by the flower bed, studying seeds. I lowered my gaze again, staring blankly at the ground. Anna's voice rose an octave, sharp and piercing. Why? Noah, what are you trying to do? In the distance, the two women burst into laughter. I could even see a faint pink glow on my mother's face, a face so often worn down by illness. Anna, I said, the moment you said we were breaking up, I decided to leave New York. Since we won't have anything to do with each other anymore, blocking an ex's contact information is a sign of respect for your current boyfriend, isn't it? There was a long silence on the other end. I knew Anna was trying to figure out if I was telling the truth. After all, I had been way too much of a doormat in the past. Even the little incidents that punctuated our relationship were easily forgotten by me. But only I knew it wasn't forgetting. It was being so deeply in love that I was deceiving myself. Even now, knowing clearly that I was over Anna, I could still feel the lingering sting and coldness in my heart when I thought back. Anna, I'm starting a new life. The breathing on the other end of the line suddenly became ragged. I knew this was her sign of an impending outburst, but I had no intention of arguing. I just said calmly, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I'm busy right now. But then Anna suddenly shouted, Noah, you better explain what you mean by that. Weren't you always the most obedient? I just changed your job, and you throw this big a fit? You get back to New York right now. I'll let you be my driver again. How about that? For a moment, I was at a loss for words, overcome by a wave of frustration. Just then, Chloe's voice drifted in from the living room. Noah, are you done? Anna stopped short. In the next second, she demanded, Noah, are you with another woman? The undisguised anger in her voice made it sound as if I were the one who had cheated and broken up with her. I sighed, not wanting to drag it out any longer, and just hung up. When I looked up, I saw Chloe standing by the door, smiling and watching me quietly. What's wrong? Is there something on my face? I joked, my mood not nearly as bad as I had expected. Sorry, she said. Your mom made some sweet soup and asked me to get you. Did I interrupt your call? I shook my head. No, you came at the perfect time. Everything is just perfect. In that moment, I suddenly felt a sense of release from Anna's betrayal. I realized that not everyone can hold on to a hopeless love for so many years. In a way, Anna was loyal too. It just wasn't to me. Was that your girlfriend? Chloe tilted her head, a barely perceptible hint of sadness in her eyes that I caught immediately. No, I said, a small smile on my lips, my gaze soft and focused. That was a mistake I once made, all on my own. I never expected the arrogant princess to condescend to come find me. When I opened the door and saw that stunning, glamorous face, I was genuinely stunned for a few seconds. What are you doing here? Two bodyguards stood behind Anna. I knew them well. They held up the bags they were carrying. Miss Miller is here to see your mother. Anna raised her eyebrows triumphantly, a half-smile on her face as she looked at me. Her expression seemed to be waiting for me to be moved. But there was nothing. Anna tugged at my sleeve, her voice soft. You're not still mad at me, are you? You were never like this before. I pulled my hand away without a word. Just then, my mom came out of her room, a smile still on her face. Chloe, you're here. You don't have to work at the station today. Her words trailed off when she saw Anna. She stared at the woman standing in the doorway, a look of shock on her face. Ma'am, I came to see you, Anna said, walking into the house as if she owned the place and having the bodyguards put the pile of gifts by the entrance. I glanced down. They were all high-end supplements. My mom's expression was a bit stiff. She looked at me for help. Noah, you had a friend coming over. Why didn't you tell me? I haven't prepared anything. But Anna spoke before I could, affectionately linking her arm with my mom's. Ma'am, don't blame Noah. He's having a little fight with me and won't talk to me. So I came uninvited. Her words were extremely suggestive, leaving us both a bit speechless. Just then, there was another knock on the door. A small head with a top knot squeezed between the two bodyguards. It was Chloe. Noah, she said, looking shocked. Did your family get involved with the mob? Should I call the cops for you? The moment my mom saw her, her expression instantly relaxed. She gently pulled her arm away from Anna's and went to greet Chloe with a smile, taking the insulated container from her hands. It held the soup Chloe's mom made for her every day. Anna's brow furrowed deeply. Forgetting all her previous talk of decorum, she strode over to Chloe. Who are you? She demanded, her tone filled with the contempt and interrogation that was her trademark. Chloe finally looked at her directly, her gaze calm, without a trace of fear. Noah saved my whole family. I'm repaying him with my hand in marriage. Who do you think I am? Her playful tone was laced with a hint of mockery. Although I knew Chloe was just offending me, my heart still skipped a beat. Anna's face instantly turned dark. She clenched her fists, her gaze fixed on Chloe, until my mom's voice broke the tension. Miss Miller, your visit was so sudden, we weren't prepared. Would you like to go out for a meal together? Anna had lost all the composure she had when she first arrived. She shook her head and turned to me. Noah, come outside. We need to talk. Without waiting for my response, she walked out. That imperious certainty was no different from before. I stood silently in the yard. Anna suddenly reached out and grabbed the collar of my shirt, forcing me to look at her. Who is that woman? I still didn't speak. If this misunderstanding could make her finally give up, then it wouldn't be a bad thing. Talk, Noah. Did you leave New York without a word because of her? You knew each other before, didn't you? What's so great about her? What can she give you? A wave of irritation washed over me. I forcefully pulled her hands away and pushed her back. She stumbled, looking at me in disbelief. You pushed me. I straightened my clothes, looking at her coolly. Anna, get straight. We've already broken up. Your officially announced boyfriend is Ethan Carter. Are you bored of him already? Can you, for once in your life, figure out what love actually is? Anna's eyes suddenly turned red. The suppressed hurt made her look like she was about to collapse, all her previous fire gone. Yes, she said, her voice trembling. I admit I broke up with you for Ethan. It wasn't until you left that I realized something was wrong between us. So I kept showing off our relationship, trying to convince myself that he and I were the real couple. But the truth is, I was waiting for you to come find me, to fight with me like you used to. But you did nothing. You didn't even touch the things I gave you. The more she spoke, the angrier she got. She walked back towards me, raising her fist to hit me. In the past, at times like this, I would have gently caught her hands and pressed them against my heart, letting her feel its rapid, sincere beat. But this time, I just took a step back, dodging her. Anna froze, completely stunned. Go home, Anna. We're broken up? I said coldly, my voice flat. Anna looked up in disbelief, her eyes filled with a stunned, stormy emotion. "No, what did you say? Say it again." I sighed and spoke firmly. "Stop coming to find me. It's annoying." Anna let out a cold laugh. "Fine, Noah, don't you regret this?" Chloe's TV station hosted a mixer event. Two of the guests didn't show up, so she and I filled in. After a few games, we, the substitutes, ended up being the most in-sync pair of the night, even getting the highest compatibility score. We had to go on stage to receive an award. I never expected the presenter to be Ethan Carter. His family's company was sponsoring the event. Our eyes met. Ethan's brow furrowed slightly, his gaze shifting back and forth between me and Chloe. "Is this your girlfriend?" I didn't try to hide anything, just looked at him calmly. "Mr. Carter, you can rest assured. Anna and I are in the past. Besides, you must have heard, she was never serious about the boyfriend she had over the years. She was always waiting for you." My words seemed to improve Ethan's mood considerably, but for some reason, there was still a hint of bitterness in his expression. "Is that so? I used to think so too. But Noah, maybe you were different. So I still hope you can find your own happiness. That way, Anna will finally give up." I didn't understand what he meant and didn't want to dwell on it. Chloe, sensing the awkwardness, wrapped her arm around mine and gently came to my rescue. "Mr. Carter, I didn't realize you and Noah were friends. We're getting married soon. We'd love to send you an invitation if you'd grace us with your presence. But until then, I'd rather not have any unpleasant rumors about my fiancée." Ethan realized his gaffe. Noticing he had been on stage for too long, he awkwardly composed himself and walked off. I gave Chloe a grateful smile, and she met my gaze with a look of deep affection. The immense strength in her understanding and acceptance made my heart tremble. After leaving the stage, I went backstage to change. As I turned a corner, a slender figure blocked my path. Anna was standing in the hallway, her eyes full of sorrow. "Noah, if I break up with Ethan right now, will you come back to me? I really know I was wrong. Can you forgive me this one time?" I looked at her and pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling tired. "It's not about this one time." Anna didn't understand. "What?" I explained. "In the past 3 years, I forgave you dozens of times, Anna. My heart is dead to you now. I've finally let you go. Even without Ethan, we can't go back." "I don't believe you." Tears rolled down Anna's cheeks. This was the first time I had ever seen her so flustered. "I know how you feel about me. How can we not go back? I'll make things clear with Ethan." "And what about me?" Her words were cut off by a voice from behind. Ethan emerged slowly from the shadows, his eyes bloodshot. "What are you going to make clear with me?" "That we're breaking up." Anna slowly turned to face him. Their eyes met. After a few seconds of silence, she finally spoke. "We already broke up the year you left." "Then what has this all been?" Ethan's eyes were filled with pain. He practically roared the words. Anna enunciated each word with cruel precision. "It was me being delusional." Then, she turned back to me, grabbing the hem of my shirt, her eyes filled with an undeniable hope. "Noah, can you forgive me now? Let's go home. Let's go back to New York, okay?" I slowly pulled my shirt from her grasp and shook my head. "This is between you two. It has nothing to do with me." With that, I turned and walked towards Chloe, who was standing not far away. For the first time, I took her hand with solemn purpose. "Let's go." My mom made sweet soup at home. Anna didn't give up. She found ways to bother Chloe, and she came to my house several times, trying every trick in the book, from threats to bribes. But neither Chloe nor I budged. Anna had always been a proud person. That she would stoop to this should have been touching. But I knew better. It just proved her selfishness. What she couldn't have, she had to get by any means necessary, never learning to respect others or let go. It wasn't that she had suddenly realized she loved me. It was more like a spoiled child refusing to give up a toy. Whether it was me or Ethan, we were just NPCs to satisfy her own whims.